Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to the Wednesday morning Devo. This is our last one before Christmas. I can't believe it is almost here, even though it seems like this year has been never-ending. Yet Christmas still snuck up on us somehow, and here it is. I'm a big Christmas fan. So I don't know about you, but I always just get super into the season. Just have a blast with the lights and the food and family and all that stuff. This is a weird one though. A lot of people that I've been talking with, ourselves included, are going to have a very different Christmas where we're not, seeing the people that we normally do. And not enjoying some of the usual stuff. Man, this is hard, but thankfully it's, I believe it's a temporary thing that we're going through. And although we'll have bumps down the road, I don't think we'll have another year soon that looks like this one. So, well, hi Debbie, hi Ray. Great to see you guys and welcome. Today, I want to talk a little bit about joy. And in our neighborhood, we walk down a little bit towards the park, and up on the hill, there's a big lit sign at night that says joy. And they actually did a nice job. It looks really good. But my wife sent me one this week that said they just took the joy off of it. Good morning, Bob. And it said oi, which I think that represents 2020 pretty well. Oi in your front yard. Although it made me just start thinking about what's our joy based on, and how do we maintain it? How do we keep it together and not just feel like oi about this whole year? So 2 nights ago, we were walking near the joy sign down below in the park, and that was when we could see Saturn and Jupiter up in the sky, and there was a guy over there that had an 8-inch telescope rolled out into the basketball courts. And so we all got to check it out and look in there and actually see the rings of Saturn, see the moons of Jupiter. And it was just a wow moment. It was so fun, so cool to see that stuff that clearly. And it was really neat to look up on the hill and see joy, and to look up in the sky and see this pieces of God's creation that sometimes I just totally ignore. And it was just this moment of like, wow. And so we were smiling, we were stoked. It was a great night. We walked back home laughing. It was really cool. So I get home, and then I have this phone call with a friend talking about something that happened the day before, and where there were some people behaving badly in our community, calling each other names, people who don't wear masks, calling people who do wear masks, this and that and the other thing, and just going after this lady who has 4 little kids, who happens to be a pastor's wife in our town. That was a little surprising. And so I feel like a lot of my excitement about what was happening up there got messed up by what was happening down here. And so it was harder to find joy. It was harder to find the positive, the silver lining in all that stuff. But I did realize what was happening, and I was able to give my frustrations with our culture and with some Christians over to the Lord and say, this is how I'm feeling. Would you please bring back the joy? And I really felt like the Lord, He understands this much better than we do. He met me there, and I felt like I was able to have His perspective about what was happening and give these issues over to Him rather than feeling like I got to fight some fight. My friend Hud McWilliams talked about joy one time, and he's a psychologist and a pastor, which I guess makes him a psycho-pastor, right? But he said, how much joy marks your life? And are you able to find joy in any situation? Because St. Paul was able to find joy in prison, in difficulty, in struggle, and he said, consider it all joy. And he said, rejoice always. And so He also said, Hud, not St. Paul, Hud said this. He said, joy settles your soul. Anxiety stirs it up. I thought that was super helpful. How do we have joy in our lives that settles our soul, calms down our anxiety? How do we have this deeper level down here, no matter what's happening up here, that keeps us calm, keeps us tuned in? And hi, Joanne. Welcome to the party. So joy is relational. I think that's something that I never understood growing up. But the fruit of the Spirit, Galatians says is joy. That's one of the things that the Holy Spirit brings into my life. And in God is the only place where we will find real and lasting joy. Psalm 16:11 says, in your presence is fullness of joy. So God is the source of joy. He's also the reason for joy. So in him, we find this stuff. If we try to find it somewhere else, it's going to be something much more temporary. It's not going to be real. Psalm 5 says, let all those who put their trust in you rejoice. Let them shout for joy because you defend them. Let them that love your name be joyful in you. Where's the joy? We find it up there, not in all the stuff that's around us. Joy is about God because we focus on him. And that allows us to have joy because of who he is, not about what's happening here, but who he is. Happiness is focused on what's happening around here. Happiness is much more focused on me, on us, than it is on him. God, what have you done for me lately? How happy do I feel today? How did my day go? That's a whole different ballgame than the joy, the peace, the worship, the perfection that exists in heaven, and tuning in with that, what's happening there. Did you know that you can be joyful in something that you are not happy with? So sometimes we try to put on a happy face and go, I'm doing great, when we're not. We can stop the train, we can look at the stuff and go, this is bad. I don't enjoy this, I'm not happy about this, I don't want this to continue, I want this to be done. But I can still find joy at the same time, knowing that I can trust God in the middle of it, and I know that somehow he's going to work it out for good, and I know that I'm going to grow. So even if I don't feel it, I can say, Lord, help me to understand the reality that I can have joy in you no matter what. If I'm in prison, if I'm in cancer treatment, whatever's happening, if it's with happiness, joy is focused there. Joy is deeper than happiness. It's deeper than even grief. It's like a deep current that runs through our lives, and the Lord controls this through his Spirit. And we have to tune in with that deeper current. Like in the books of Narnia, it's like the deeper magic. There's something happening down here that the Lord can tune us in with that gives us a steadiness that we don't have to struggle through all the little bumps in life. He can give us a steady joy through the middle. So I want to ask you, as you go into Christmas, it's just 2 days away. How is your joy doing right now? Like, give it a grade, A to F. And no one's. I'm not going to grade you. The Lord's not going to grade you. How do you think you're doing with your joy right now? Do you feel like it's more like joy, or do you feel like it's more like oi, right now? And do things that help your joy grow. So what sparks joy in you? What makes you just go like, wow? For us the other night, watching the planets, looking at the stars, being out as a family, walking in the park like in the middle of the night, that was cool. Is it being with other people? Maybe you've been too isolated and maybe you're still like, I can't really get out of the house. That's fine. Call somebody, text somebody, Facebook Messenger, FaceTime, figure out a way. You could Zoom. I know you're tired of Zoom, but you could Zoom. Figure out a way to connect. Is it creation? Is it nature that sparks joy in you? Get out there. Is it music? Is it worship? Is it praise? God's word. Look up the word joy and understand where it comes from, and do a study this afternoon and enjoy it. Just go through verse after verse after verse and allow the Lord to speak to you and minister your spirit and lift you up out of that stuff that maybe you've been stuck in. And if you feel like you're getting buried and the joy is dying, then just when you feel a little off, go back to those things that spark joy and say, Lord, I don't feel good right now. I want to, please restore to me the joy of my salvation. Please bring back to me what I am missing. I spoke on Sunday about joy at Caneo Church, and something, I really felt like the Lord showed me a brand new thing last week I'd never even thought about. But if you think about the lepers that Jesus healed in the New Testament, those guys got their lives completely turned around. Just, wow, like restoration in every sense. Physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, like, you know, they were restored to community and faith and everything. Okay, so their lives are turned around. Do you think they ever had a bad day after that? Do you think one of those lepers was like perfect sailing from that day on until he died, like never another problem? He had tons of problems, I bet more than the average person. But he had been healed. He had been rescued. He'd been saved. He had different perspective to go through the problems. And I bet he didn't give up when he went through a thing, because he's like, hey, I've been saved by Jesus for a reason. We're like that. We're the same as the leper. We're the same as the prodigal son. We're the person who has been rescued, who has been saved, who can look at anything that happens in life with different perspective, not because of what's happening, but because of what has already happened in our lives. We can have joy based on what has already happened. That God has already rescued, already saved, already healed me from stuff. And I can look at this differently because of that. So your enemy might say to you this Christmas, who are you to have joy when nobody else has it? Who are you to, who are you to, he loves to accuse. He loves to challenge us and say, you don't deserve that. And our answer is, I'm a child of the Most High who has been healed, who has been rescued, and I'm going to have joy because of that. Not because of what's happening, not because I deserve it, not because I have any position, but because of him. Let's keep our focus there, everybody. So Merry Christmas, friends. I hope you have a really wonderful week, and I hope you are ready to experience the birth of our King. God bless you, everybody. We'll see you soon.